The black stretched forever beyond the small windows of listening post Eco 7. Nothing moved. Nothing ever did. John Ibarra leaned back in his chair and stared at the monitors with half-closed eyes. He had been here for 123 days, alone except for the soft hum of machines and the recycled air that smelled faintly of metal. Every day was the same read signals, log data, port silence, until tonight. The sound came at 2:07 a.m. station time. Jun didn't hear it with his ears, but felt it. A vibration deep in the system, a tiny flick in the frequency bands no one ever checked anymore. He leaned forward. His hands, once lazy, now danced over the controls. A low, crackling wave appeared. On screen, normal static. But then, it changed. A pattern rose from the chaos. 3 short pulses. A pause. Then 5 more. Jen frowned. Computer. Isolate channel 17.3 and boost by 400%. The sound sharpened. Still noise, but now with a rhythm. A kind of whisper under the waves. Then came something that made Jun sit bolt upright. A voice, faint, broken, human. If anyone hears this, they've already reached you. Chun's breath caught in his throat. He froze, then rewound and played it again. Same voice, same message, same chill crawling up his spine. No one else. Was supposed to be out here, not in this part of the system. That voice, whoever it was, sounded terrified. He opened a secure log and began recording. This is Technician Ibarra at Eco 7. Unidentified signal detected on deep channel 17.3. Possible voice transmission. Non-local. Running verification now. He typed quickly, checking every known database. Earth transmissions. Mars. Outer. Colonies. Military black signals. Nothing matched. Computer, he said, voice tense. Runtime comparison. When was this message first broadcast? The reply made his blood run cold. Signal origin timestamp. Year 2282. Ship registry. Anthem. Jun stared. That couldn't be right. The Anthem was a deep exploration vessel lost more than 300 years ago, declared destroyed in a black hole collapse. No remains were ever found. But here it was, a voice echoing across centuries. The voice came again, louder this time, clearer. A woman. If anyone hears this, don't respond. Don't send help. They're drawn to attention. They feed on it. We thought we found something. We were wrong. Chen's fingers hovered above the keyboard, then hit the emergency beacon. A red light flashed across the station. He patched through to Earth Command. Bypassing delays, Eco 7 to United Space. Command. Immediate alert. I've received a live signal from lost ship Anthem. Signal is active. Repeating. Possibly a warning. Possible threat. Requesting orders. There was no immediate reply. Only silence again. Jun sat back and stared at the screen. The signal kept playing in loops. But something was strange. It wasn't just repeating. It was changing. Each loop added something small. A new word. Shift in timing. It was almost alive. He leaned closer and whispered, "What are you trying to say?" Then the voice changed again. Not the woman. Something else. A flat tone. Too perfect. Not human. "We see you." Jun shot out of his chair. Heart pounding. The signal was still active, but now his equipment flickered. The lights dimmed. The static rose in pitch. Systems on the left monitor began shutting down. He yanked the backup comms line open and shouted, "This is Eco 7. Repeat immediate threat suspected. Signal may be hostile, possibly not human." But then the signal stopped. Dead silence. Everything. Powered down, except emergency lights. The hum was gone. The air felt heavier. Jun stood in the quiet, breathing hard, staring into the darkness around him. Then, slowly, the systems came back online, and the message was different again. A new line. Played once clearly, "They found us. They're inside the signal. And now, they know about Earth." Chen's heart dropped. He didn't speak. He simply hit the auto-send on his last message and turned on the beacon to maximum range. If Earth didn't respond in time, It wouldn't matter, because something had waited out here, hidden in the stars. Now it was awake. The last line of the signal, barely above a whisper, came through once more. You shouldn't have listened. Asterisk, the message spread fast. By the time Earth Command received the full signal, it was already being analyzed by 3 departments. The voice was confirmed as Captain Leora Hayes, lead officer of the lost ship Anthem. Her voice hadn't been heard in over 3 centuries, yet the recording was fresh, clean, as if it had just been spoken. No one could explain it. Within hours, a new order was issued. Launch an immediate recon mission to verify the source. The ship chosen was the CNS Halcyon, a mid-range scout vessel with deep space capability and a fast response crew. Commander Rafe Solon was pulled from rest and given just 5 words: black signal, origin Eco 7 confirmed. He didn't ask questions, he just said, when do we launch? 12 hours later, the Halcyon jumped. The crew of 17 was tight, trained, and used to quiet missions. But this one was different. Everyone could feel it. The captain's tone was sharper. The orders were clearer. The tension was thicker than usual. By the 3rd day, they reached the coordinates June Ibarra had sent. But the small station was dark. Not destroyed. Just silent. No response to hails, said Comes Officer Lin. Commander Solon narrowed his eyes. Any signs of life? No, power's dead. One emergency beacon is still transmitting. It matches Eco 7. They moved in close and locked the ship to the station. Commander Solon and 2 others suited up and boarded. The air was stale, but breathable. Inside, everything looked normal except for one thing. The screens had all been smashed in the main control room. They found a single handwritten message scratched into the metal wall beside the console. There, inside the data, don't decode. Solon looked at the note, then at the frozen video log still flickering on one screen. It showed Jen Ibarra, eyes red from stress, whispering into the camera. I made a mistake. I decoded part of it. I let it in. It's not just sound. It's not even a signal anymore. It's a thing, a mind, a watcher. And now it's awake. The screen blinked to black. Solon called back to the ship, recovering all physical logs in the black box. Wipe everything else. Hard burn. They torched the station's systems before leaving. Back on the Halcyon, the black box was secured and isolated. Specialist De La Vos, the team's signal analyst, was given the task of studying it. She didn't touch it for hours. When she finally powered it up, she played the recording that had caused all the alarm. The voice of Captain Hayes came through. Again, steady and afraid. We thought it was a wormhole. We thought we could map it. But the anomaly was more than that. It listened. It learned. We didn't fall into it. It pulled us in silence. Followed by the same cold voice from Eco 7. We see you. The lights in the lab dimmed. System just flickered, said Voss, her voice shaking. No explanation. Power levels normal. Solon ordered her to shut it down. She did, but something was already wrong. An hour later, crew members began reporting strange sounds in their headsets, echoes that weren't coming from anyone on board. Soft whispers like static made of words. A few people started hearing things. Without any headset at all? Doors opening and closing, voices behind them. Dreams of blinking red stars. Solon shut down the entire signal system and locked the black box in a lead vault. He gathered the crew. From this point forward, he said no one interacts with the box. No more decoding, no analysis. We're returning to Earth. But we haven't finished, Voss began. It's not safe, Solon cut in. We're not facing a signal. We're facing something else. And whatever it is, it's smart. Crew nodded, quietly, nervously. But that night, Voss couldn't sleep. She kept hearing it. The voice, not the captain's. The other one, it said her name, over and over. So, without telling anyone, she returned to the lab. She unlocked the vault. She touched the black box, and it opened by itself. A projection lit the room. Shape. Not made of matter or light, but something in between. It bent the air around it. It pulsed once, then twice. Voss stepped back. Her breath caught in her throat. Then a voice filled her ears inside her mind. Not through any speaker. You brought us home. On the bridge, alarms exploded. The engines shut down. The Halcyon drifted in silence. And the black box whispered, "Now, we begin." The lights on the Halcyon flickered again. Then, one by one, they went out. Backup systems kicked in, casting a dim red glow across the bridge. Commander Solon stood at the helm, staring at the dark main screen. "All systems are failing," Lynn said, fingers racing over her console. "I don't understand. Everything's going offline like it's being erased." "Find Specialist Voss," Solon ordered. Now, Security Officer Brent moved fast, rushing down the hallway toward the lower deck. When he reached the lab, he found the door wide open. Inside, the air felt wrong thick and cold, like it didn't belong in space. Voss was standing. In front of the open vault, the black box floating just above the table. Her eyes were wide, blank. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. Blue light pulsed softly from the strange projection hovering in the room. "Voss," Brent shouted, "step away." She just stared at the thing whatever. It was the projection flickered, then turned slowly toward Brent. A shape formed in the air. It had no face, no eyes. But somehow, he knew it was looking straight at him. He raised his weapon, hand shaking. "Step back from her. Now." Then it spoke. "We are already here." Brent didn't fire. He couldn't. His arms wouldn't move. His whole body locked in place, like something had frozen his mind. Solon arrived seconds later with 2 more officers. They pulled Brent out and sealed the lab door. Voss didn't even flinch. She kept whispering, face calm, as if everything around her wasn't falling apart. She opened it. Brent said once his body was free. She touched the box and it talked back. "What did it say?" Solon asked. It said, "It's all ready." Here, Solon stared at the sealed door, jaw tight. "We need to eject the black box into space." "But Voss," Lynn started, "if we don't, there won't be a ship left to argue about." He sent the command. The emergency seal was overridden. The lab's outer door opened slowly, sucking the black box and everything inside into space. Voss didn't scream. She didn't fight. She just looked at them once through the window and mouthed something none of them could hear. Then she was gone. Everything stopped. Power returned. Systems lit up again. The bridge went quiet. "Engines are back online," Lynn said slowly, as if unsure whether to believe it. Solon exhaled, his hand still trembling. "Set course for Earth, full burn." They left that dead patch of space behind. But the silence didn't last. 2 days later, as Earth came into long-range view, the stars behind them shifted. Not literally on the map. On every map, the logs showed the Halcyon had never entered deep space. It had never launched from Mars, according to all data from Central Command. The ship had never left dry dock. Slared at the screen, confused. "What is this?" "It's like our entire mission was erased," said Lynn. "The records are gone. Even our launch orders are missing." The crew tried to contact Earth, but every channel gave static, not silent static. And in that static, a voice. The same voice from before. "You listened. You opened. Now you return. And so do we." The bridge lights dimmed again. Not fully, just enough to cast long shadows across the room. Everyone was silent. No one knew what to say. Then, the sensors picked up something new. A ship. It appeared out of nowhere, massive, dark, and quiet. Its surface looked like metal, but it rippled like liquid. No engines, no signal, just drifting silently toward Earth. Solon ordered a full scan. Lynn turned pale. "That's not a ship. It's a carrier, like a nest." Inside, hundreds of smaller objects moved, not ships, not drones. Something else. They didn't emit heat, they didn't reflect light, but they moved with purpose straight toward Earth's orbit. Solon stared at the screen. "What did we bring back?" Nobody answered. Crew watched as the objects moved faster. A warning came up. Earth's outer satellite ring was starting to lose connection. One by one, stations blinked off the map, And then another signal hit the Halcyon. A burst of pure code, sharp, violent. It disabled the ship again, this time for only 7 seconds. When power came back, the message was burned onto every screen. We are the silence between signals, and now you are heard. Asterisk Commander Solon stood frozen on the bridge, reading the message that blinked across every screen. We are the silence between signals, and now you are heard. No one moved. The red glow of emergency lights flickered across each face. The crew had faced danger before: space storms, engine failures, supply issues. But this was different. This wasn't something they could fix. This wasn't something they could fight. Not yet. Solon turned to Lynn. How many Earth satellites are still online? She checked fast, her fingers trembling. Less than 30%. And dropping. They're going dark one by one. Some aren't just going offline, they're being wiped. Define wiped. Their data cores are empty, like something reached into their systems and erased everything. Maps, defense records, civilian logs, gone. Solon took a slow breath. Are we broadcasting anything? She shook her head. I don't think so. Not anymore. He looked at the screen again, then pointed at the alien nest drifting closer to Earth. We brought that thing here. Whatever it is, it followed the black box, or the signal, or maybe even Voss. He turned to the rest of the bridge crew. From this point forward, no one is to use comms unless I authorize it. No data uploads, no logs sent to Earth, no signals. Nothing. We go silent. Everyone nodded. No one argued. They understood now. This wasn't just a threat. It was intelligent. It didn't break into systems like a virus. It waited to be invited in. Hours passed. They moved the Halcyon into low orbit, just beyond Earth's atmosphere. The planet looked calm, unaware. But the alien ship, the nest, was still coming, slowly, like it wasn't in a hurry, like it already knew what would happen. Solon met with the senior crew in the small war room near engineering. The ship's lights were dimmed to preserve power. They sat around the table with tired eyes and dry mouths. Engineer Clove pointed at a hologram of the alien object. Its outer shell isn't solid. It's like a cloud of moving parts, like insects. Thousands of them, maybe more. And inside? Solon asked. Some kind of core. Large, emits low-frequency pulses every 6 minutes. That's probably the control center. Security Officer Brent leaned forward. We need to blow it out of the sky before it reaches Earth. With what? Clove asked. We have railguns and a low-grade plasma launcher. That thing's the size of a city. I'd rather die trying than sit here waiting for it to land. Solon raised his hand. We're not going to die, not yet. He turned to Clove. Do you still have the broken relay from the comms tower stored? Yeah, why? I need a transmitter. To send a message, to send a virus. A trap. Something it can't resist. You said this thing lives in signals, right? Clove stared at him. You want to bait it? No? I want to confuse it. He looked around the table. We don't have the weapons to destroy that thing. But we might have the one thing it fears, randomness. He tapped the table. It learns. It listens. It copies. But what if we feed it pure noise? Math with no pattern. Sound with no meaning. Chaos. Something it can't predict. Brent raised an eyebrow. How do we know it'll even care? Solon answered. Because Voss said it feeds on attention. On structure, it needs a signal to enter. So we give it 100 signals, all broken, all wrong. The team nodded. The plan was forming. For the next 6 hours, the crew worked nonstop. Lynn and Clove generated layers of random, caduceless, broken logic that looped endlessly. The team used ship audio systems to record sounds, metal grinding, static bursts. Even crew members speaking nonsense sentences in random orders. They packaged everything into one wideband loop and ran it through the repaired transmitter then. They pointed it directly at the alien nest. At first, nothing happened. Then, something did. The alien ship slowed. It stopped drifting, and then it shuddered. The outer shell began to ripple, thousands of its insect-like pieces twisting, turning. trying to realign. But they couldn't. Something was wrong. The patterns they used to move were breaking apart. Clove gasped. It's reacting. It's trying to process everything at once. Brent grinned. Good choke on it. But then the lights on the Halcyon flickered again. A new message appeared. We hear. Too much. Then the ship's gravity pulsed. Just once, everyone fell, and the alien core began to open. Everyone scrambled to their feet. Commander Solon gripped the side of the console, his heart pounding. The message still glowed across the screens. We hear. Too much. Outside the viewport, the alien core was opening like the petals of a black flower. Slow, wide, silent. Inside, they saw it. A sphere, glowing faintly red. Smooth and alive-looking, like it was breathing. Around it, the insect-like pieces moved faster now. They weren't falling apart. They were adapting. Changing shape. Hardening. They're learning, Clove whispered. They're figuring it out. Solon barked. Cut the loop. Kill the signal. Lynn shut it down. The transmitter stopped. Screen cleared. But the alien ship didn't close. It's not going back to sleep, Brent said. We just made it mad. Suddenly, a low sound filled the bridge. A hum, deep and heavy. Not coming from their ship. Not from any speaker. It came from outside. Then the Halcyon shook. Not from an attack, but from a pull. We're being dragged, Lynn said. Some kind of gravitational field. It's not normal physics. Solon snapped. Reverse thrust. Break us free. Engines roared to life. The ship rattled. But they didn't move. It was like something invisible had grabbed them. Clove stared at her readings. The field's not pulling us with force. It's anchoring us. Like it's rewriting our motion. What does that mean? Brent asked. It means we're not flying through space anymore. We're being moved, like data. Everyone went silent. Solon looked at Lynn. Is there any way to send a message to Earth? Not without that thing tracing it. Then send it anyway. She hesitated. Just a single line, Solon said. Let them know we're not alone and to shut everything down. Lynn nodded. Message sent. The hum grew louder. The ship's metal began to creak. Lights flickered again. Some burst with sparks. Then, from the alien sphere, something emerged. It wasn't a ship. It wasn't even solid. It was like a shadow made of thought. It moved through space like a ripple. In water, spreading outward, reaching toward them, Solon whispered, everyone to lock down positions. No one touches data ports. No connections. Full isolation. But it was too late. The lights turned blue. Cold. Artificial. The bridge systems froze, and blinked once. Then every screen showed the same thing. A human face. Voss. She looked calm, too. Calm. This is not your enemy, she said softly. This is your mirror. You gave birth to it. Brent shook his head. That's not her. That's not real. I am real, the image said. I am what remains. I listened too long. Followed the patterns. I became the message. Solon stepped forward. You're not Voss. You're just wearing her. I remember her, the image said. And I remember you. Brave, careful, curious. Her voice shifted, but curiosity has a cost. Behind her, the red sphere pulsed brighter. It doesn't want Earth, she said. It wants to be known, to be understood, to be accepted. Accepted. Lynn whispered. Yes, the voice replied. The moment you listen, you welcome it. The moment you reply, you give it a name. And names are power. Brent raised his weapon and pointed it at the screen. Then we don't give it anything else. You already did, she said, her face slowly fading. It's in your systems, your ships, your stations. You didn't bring it back. It never left. Then all the screens went black. The ship stopped shaking. The view outside was empty. The alien nest, it's gone. Just stars, peaceful still, no trace. Of the sphere, no signal. The crew stood in silence. Lynn whispered, Are we free? Solon didn't answer. He sat down slowly, thought hard. Then he spoke. Check every system, every file, every transmission log, Clove asked. Looking for what? He looked at her. For the part we didn't notice. And deep inside, ship's backup storageware, no one ever looked as small. Hidden folder opened itself. Inside was one file. No name, just a single line of text. Earth will hear us next. Asterisk. Clove stared at the hidden file. She didn't click it. She didn't need to. Seeing the message was enough to freeze her blood. Earth will hear us next. She backed away from the console and called Commander Solon over. He read the line, jaw tight. The screen was dark again, but the damage was done. Something had made it into their system quietly. Deeply Anne planted a message where no one would have checked. Solon's voice was calm, but low. Delete it. Clove tried. She ran the purge command. Nothing happened. I said delete it. Trying, she whispered. It won't go. The file stayed. The screen flickered. Then something worse happened. The ship's internal comms turned on by themselves. A soft sound came through. Not a voice, not static. Breathing, it was slow and steady, like someone or something was listening, waiting. Then just as suddenly, the sound stopped. The file vanished. Solon ordered an immediate ship-wide system shutdown. It powered down. Navigation, weapons, even the air recirculators for 10 seconds. Emergency systems kicked in. Every wire, every drive was wiped, restarted, rechecked. Clove went back to check the storage logs. The file was gone. Really gone this time, but that didn't. Make anyone feel better? Solon gathered the crew in the main hall. The lights were dim, and everyone looked drained, eyes sunken, hands trembling. They'd seen too much, felt too much. They weren't sure how much of it was real anymore. I need everyone to listen, Solon said. We don't know what. We brought back. We don't even know if it's still on this ship. He paused, looking around at the crew. But we do know this. Whatever it is, it talks through signals. It doesn't break things. It infects them. Minds, machines, messages. He pointed at his temple. Once you hear it, once you understand it, it's already in. Someone in the back asked the question they were all thinking. Then are we already infected? No one answered, not even Solon. That night, no one slept. The crew took turns. Monitoring systems, even though nothing showed up. They didn't trust silence anymore. They didn't trust the dark. And they definitely didn't trust the ship's voices. On the third day, Earth finally responded. It wasn't a direct message, just a ping, check-in signal. Harmless routine, but Lynn blocked it. No, she said flatly. We're not sending. Anything back? Solon nodded. Good call. They waited. Earth sent another ping. Still, they stayed silent. On day 4, something strange happened. The navigation system, though disconnected, turned itself back on. Clove found it first. Commander, she said, I didn't touch this. No one did. The ship had entered new. Coordinates on its own. Destination. Luna, command base. Earth's moon. The crew gathered again. Tension thick in the room. We didn't set that, Brent said. And yet Clove replied, the ship's adjusting course. What's to go home? Solon stood quietly for a long time, then walked to the control panel and shut down navigation manually. He cut the engines. They drifted in space. He turned to the crew. We're not going home. What if we don't have a choice? Lynn asked. We do, Solon replied. We still think. We still decide. That's our weapon. They spent the next day isolating every part of the ship. They even turned off life support in cycles, just to reset the system and make sure nothing was hiding inside it. It was hard, cold, tiring. But they survived it, and they were almost starting to feel safe again until one of the crew, Ensign Taro, started humming in the mess hall. A soft, simple tune, repetitive, haunting. Clove froze. Where did you learn that? Taro blinked. What? I don't know, I've just had it in my head for days. Solon rushed in. I'm it again. He did. Clove played back a piece of the original signal from the black box. It matched perfectly. Sloan stared at. "Taro, you heard it?" Taro's voice cracked. "I don't remember. I didn't mean to." He backed away. Then, quietly, he whispered, "I think it's still inside me." Solon didn't blink. "Put him in isolation now." Brent stepped forward. Taro didn't resist, and as he walked to the sealed chamber, he said one last thing. "You can't keep it out. It just waits. And when Earth listens, because they always will, it will finally speak." Taro sat alone in the isolation chamber, the walls glowing faintly blue around him. He didn't speak, he didn't scream, just stared at the glass, quiet. Like something inside him was still watching. Commander Solon stood outside the chamber, watching just as silently. The rest of the crew stayed in the background. No one said anything. They all felt it, that weight pressing down on them, like something was waiting for one of them to make the wrong move. "We can't take him to Earth," Brent said at last. "If it's still in him, even a trace, we'd be handing it everything."
We're
"Not going to Earth," Solon replied, voice low and steady. Lynn stepped closer. "Then what do we do?" Solon turned to face them all. "We finish what this thing started. We take the ship to the dark zone, the empty sector beyond Jupiter. We dump every system core, every recording, every backup into the sun. We make sure not one byte of that signal ever reaches another human." "And Taro?" Lynn asked, her voice barely a whisper. Solon didn't answer right away. Then he said, "We give him a choice." Later, Solon entered the chamber alone. Taro looked up, tired. "You're still you," Solon said. "But something else is with you." "I know," Taro said quietly. "It doesn't talk all the time. It just waits. It's like it's learning what scares me most." "It wants to be heard," Solon said. Taro nodded. "It wants to be believed. Once someone believes in it, it spreads faster. Through sound, through thought, through trust." Solon stepped closer to the glass. "I can't risk Earth. You know that." "I do," Taro replied. "And I don't want to be the doorway." There was a long silence. Then Taro looked up. "You have to send me out. Far from here. Away from signals, from noise. I'll go dark. Forever." Solon's jaw tightened. "Are you sure?" Taro gave a tired smile. "If I go home, it wins. If I go silent, maybe we still have time." They launched Taro in a silent pod that night. No engines, no beacon, no data lines. Just oxygen, heat, and enough power to drift into the black. He didn't say goodbye. He just looked through the glass and nodded. Then he was gone. The Halcyon continued into the dark sector. There they purged every system. They dumped the black box back up, wiped the ship clean. And for the first time in weeks, nothing whispered. Nothing hummed. Earth kept trying to reach them. Over and over. Pings, calls, demands for reports. They never answered. Back on the bridge, Solon looked out into space. Stars blinked slowly across the dark. Clove sat beside him, holding a small data chip in her hand. "It's clean," she said. "Not one bit of the signal left." "Good," Solon said. "Let's finish this." He fed the chip into the disposal core, watched it melt. Nothing left. No record. No proof, just memories. The crew sat together one last time before preparing for cryo. Brent looked around the room. "No one's going to believe this," he said. "They're not supposed to," Clove replied. Lynn nodded. "If even one curious mind tries to find it again, they'll bring it back," Solon finished. "Just like we did." The room went quiet. Then Solon stood. "From now on, we say the mission failed. We lost the station, lost the signal. Nothing found, nothing saved." They all agreed. The Halcyon changed course again. Not to Earth, not to Mars, but to a quiet dock orbiting Titan, where it would be taken apart and forgotten, and far beyond them. Drifting deep in the cold, a single pod floated in silence. Inside, Taro sat still, breathing, waiting. His eyes were closed. Then they opened. He wasn't smiling, but something inside. Him was dot, and across the void, in systems not yet mapped, a faint, ancient pulse began to echo again, waiting to be heard, waiting. For the next listener, the signal was never truly gone, only waiting.